What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Meet My Beat. I'm Zach Waters, aka Pretty Sister, and today I'm here to talk about my song XXX. I wrote this song actually literally to date about a year ago. It's pretty much a true story. A lot of the stuff that I write is just directly from my life. I just kind of like tell it how it is. It's something that I like to do as a songwriter, especially with my artist stuff, is just kind of come out and say it. Basically, the song says it all. I had a session with my boy Blake. We actually were getting together to do some music for Sync, and we started messing around with what would become XXX. The first thing actually that we started with was these guitars here. There's a compressor that I really like to use, doing quite a bit of work. And then I have them going to a bus that has a one knob, although it's not doing much. Basically, when we started the track, it kind of felt like this mellow, like lo-fi R&B track, and me and Blake were like, should we start like a side project and just like put out instrumental? And then of course, like he left, and then the next day I like wrote about my experience with my ex-girlfriend, of course. But yeah, on the guitars, there's not a whole lot. It's obviously RC20. You got to put a little retro on your shit. There's a sample delay to make it, wow, I really pushed that hard. Another compressor, okay. These are getting slammed. And then a noise gate, because I didn't feel like cutting noise in between, and I wanted it to be clean. So that's that. And then literally the second thing, I probably put some drums to that, and then the bass, which pretty much is this riff the whole song. You can see there's some editing here. I'm pushing it way off the beat, right? So if this is the one, that's the downbeat right here. So that's how far off I got stuff lagged back. But that's why it feels how it feels. I think it feels good. So these drums are actually really similar, and not what I always do. I've never, in any, if I can remember correctly, in any Pretty Sister song, I've never used an 808 clap. I don't think, at least as the main snare. And if I remember correctly, one of my favorite songs of the last 2 years, like 2019 and like part of 2018, was The Light by Ty Dolla $ign and Jeremiah, and I think Hitmaker produced it. I fucking love that song so much that I wanted to make something kind of like that. So I think that was the inspiration, which is why I used more 808 style hats and clap. So you'll see here, the kick is a little bit off grid. Clap is right on though. Yeah, and for some reason too, like check this out. I don't even remember doing this or why I did it, but I'm using two different kicks. Like right here, like what? I don't know why I did that. Maybe that was an accident, I'm not sure. Then there's like a little stutter kick that kind of gives it, you know. These hats are from a J Dilla kit that I have. When we get to the chorus, can't stop us. You got it. Right here. I like to put an arpeggiator on my sampler track. So basically I could just hold down the notes and it'll, you know, the more notes I add. And the only thing that really gets added throughout is a shaker loop in the second half of the second chorus, just to add very subtly one more percussion element. You know, you don't want to get too wild. I also decided, because the bass line was so strong, that even though we wrote the guitar part, you know, was the main part of the song, so it stays in, and then we lose it in the pre, so that it comes back in the second half of the chorus. I probably should have brought it back in the front of the chorus, but it's too late now. Okay, so that's that. And then let's see, let's just go to second chorus, because that's all that's really happening in the first chorus. So now we have this spooky kind of Rhodes. That's a keyscape thing that I played on MIDI, and then I printed it so that I could have more control of it. Like I want it to do this little slowdown thing. And as you can see, this is also very off-grid. That's the downbeat right there. So that's what kind of gives it its lazy nature. And then here comes single note mellotron. Honestly, just like, I usually add some kind of single note element in like a last chorus or something like that to elevate it, but it needed a little bit. And I also just loved how it made it feel like Gangster's Paradise. Like something about that is just really like, I don't know, it's really gangster. Piano octaves. So this is just kind of how I'm developing the song, right? Or developing the production. Bass line, we have the guitar line. We have now added one key element. And then for the second half of the chorus, we add one single note mellotron. And then, you know, by the time we get to the second chorus, from the top of the chorus, we're full on bass, guitar line. Now a new element has been introduced, which is the piano. We have the mellotron from the top instead of starting at the second half. And as you see too, we wait to the second half to add the shaker. That's the new element in the second half of the second chorus, right? And then, you know, when we get to the third, so we have everything that kind of stepped up is now in the third chorus, right? The shaker, the guitar line. We're not waiting for the guitar line anymore to the second half. Bass, piano, mellotron's in there, shaker's in from the top, and then we get the new added element is the gangster whine, which is a preset that I've made. So I made this with a Juno plugin, obviously, classic. OTT to crunch it up, RC20 of course, and I love Photool so that it ducks, right? Like without that. I've got the smooth on. Remember to put the smooth on, because if you don't, it'll click sometimes. Like that's the main like regular instruments. No funny business, piano or a synth lead or nothing crazy is going on. So there's a lot of other harmonic elements that happen in the track. Stuff that I really like to do is use random samples. A lot of people like to do that, and praise God for Splice. That's become a real nice thing for me for adding those elements, right? It's like, I mean, you can use Splice to make an entire song from top to bottom. I like to use it as like a sprinkling. I like to use it for top percussion elements. And yeah, of course, if I'm not in my studio, I'm traveling and I'm just like want to find a kick really quick, it's beautiful for that. I like to personally use it for these kind of things. Those little swell, weird. They're pitched and they're faded. And like this baby here has been, I pitched it up a whole octave. That one I really love, and I don't see, you can see there's a speed up on the front of it. So it kind of like, whoa, right? These just have a delay and space designer on them. You know, just to add that mysterious kind of darkness. I feel kind of random, to be honest, but... And those just continue throughout the whole song. That kind of loop of the baby and the other thing. Now, these are the fun... So... like, let's solo some of those. There's some fun ones in there for sure. There's a Damn Gina. Damn Gina. That I thought was hilarious. I grew up with my parents watching Martin, so I always would imitate him as a baby. And then here's some breaths. So this part took me so long to find the right like moan. Because I wanted them to have an element of sexiness, but not like too gratuitous, which is like a fine line. And I mean, for some people, it's definitely going to be too gratuitous, but I guess in my mind, I wanted it to have some class. I didn't want it to just be like a fucking porn. Check this out. People get a kick out of this. So there's a contact instrument that I got from my boy PK, another producer. He gave me his entire contact library. So I was just going through, and there was one named XXX 2. And I was like, what could that be? Here it is. And this is what it looks like. It's like somebody went through and sampled many dozen porns. So I was literally sitting in my studio for, I shit you not, like 2 hours.
Fuck me. Make it fucking nasty.
My roommates probably thought I was, yeah. I didn't want something like that aggressive in the song. Like, I can't stop fucking my ex. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be really ridiculous. That's a decent one. Here's what else is great. We're on the various bonus track right here, but there's a bunch more and they all have a different picture. So odd. Yeah, whoever did this is my hero, right?
Made me wet again.
Oh, okay. Anyway, okay. Yeah, I had a fun time doing that. You know, and they have some processing on them, like, you know, I've got a fun like telephone EQ, some verb, and some delay. Simple stuff, right? I also wanted to make sure they fit in between the vocals, and I wanted them to be subtle. I was listening to like a Trent Reznor interview the other day. He was saying, you know, there's that like white noise underneath everything that kind of gives it this tension and this almost anxiety. And I wanted to do the same thing, but I wanted to subconsciously, for lack of a better term, make people feel horny. I took some of the breaths that I had put in and I just put them together and made them vaguely in time, but they're not really present. Like, and here's another fun one. This is actually Blake's idea. This is one of the first elements that we added after guitar, bass, and drums. There's just like a bird loop. Like, what? It really fit really well when we were like, oh, we're gonna make this like a lo-fi R&B our instrumental song. This is where we're gonna hear our G-Wine for the first time. I needed to do something, like, it actually took me a while to get to where that was gonna be, because the song is really cyclical. The story itself is cyclical, so I wanted the track to stay cyclical as well, but I needed something to break the cycle up a little bit because I didn't want people to get bored of what was happening. So I just needed a mood change, right? So I laid down these keys that are just the same ones I used from the chorus, but I think, and then we got a sub, right? And a Lex Luger ride, of course. Oh, it's muted, so using it. And then that's my manager's favorite moment. He's like, oh my God, it feels like an NSYNC song. So that's just the track, you know, I bounced the whole instrumental down and then cut it. And then I put the Pretty Thomas Ork hit over that, which is a sample that we custom made when we were making If I'm Not the One for Betty Who. Actually, we wanted like a legit, so we ended up stacking like a JP80 Ork sound with like a Cashmere Ork sound to like stacked a couple of different ones to make our own like 90s super boy band stab. Yeah, and then there's the reverse version of that. And that's about it. All right, so that's about it for the track. Let's get into the vocals. With the vocals, I remember though, this track in particular, I wanted to do something different than I usually do. I felt like the vocal needed to have this like telephone effect, and I experimented with a lot. I actually, for the first time, tried to use a Logic preset, male slap back lead vocal, to which I ended up not using. I took everything off of it and sent it to a send, but let's see what's on that send for the lead. It's a little bit grittier than I would normally do. Guess we're both lonely,
It was supposed to be just one drink, yeah.
So,
but I can't help missing a touch.
Got a Neve pre, which I probably should have had on my Apollo in unison mode, but I didn't. So our compressor, which I always use, API EQ on the lead Vox, and oh, there's a decapitator on the channel.
Can't help missing a touch. So easy to love. She know just how to fuck me up.
Gives it a little grit.
Well, those lips can't be forgotten. So good from top to bottom. That's why I got a problem. I can't stop fucking my ex.
And then I don't use a lot of these.
Can't stop fucking my ex.
See without it.
X. And when she up in my bed.
Yeah, it definitely crunches her out. And then there's a de-esser, and then my favorite compressor ever, the M-Juck.
Yes, I'm young and I'm stupid. Take your love just to lose it. Pussy so good that it's ruthless.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I can't stop fucking my ex.
Yeah, so that's that. There's quite a bit of vocals, nothing crazy.
Fucking my ex. Yeah, new me. Hindsight 2020 should be realizing the making of a heartbreaking. What happened to the new year, new me?
Yeah, that's fun.
Whole gang of new pussy.
Share it without the main. See what I did.
Yeah, new me. 2020 be.
Dark.
King of a heartbreaking. New year, new me. 2020 should be. In a whole gang of new pussy.
Our channel, noise gate, de-esser, R56, which is the secret sauce. So maybe in a later episode, I'll show people that. API, Trans X multiband compressor, C6, UAD. Yeah, there's a lot. These actually I added later, I think, like recently, like a couple months ago before I had to send the song to my distributor. Oh yeah, there's one called Definer, right? So the reason I added this.
My X.
So I'm enunciating X really hard because my roommate was like, the song is really dope, but the first time I listened, it sounded like you said, I can't stop fucking my ass. So, which, you know, if that's your thing, dope. But it's not what I was trying to get across in the song. So I needed to make sure that I could avoid that if possible. So my X, which was actually really hard. X, ass, eggs, right? I can't stop fucking my eggs. I probably have incepted a few of you now, so hopefully that's not all you can hear in the song.
Fucking my ex, and when she up in my bed, fucking my ex.
You know, some doubles, left, right, middle, lows, and then a 2-part harmony. And then there's actually no ad-lib. Usually I had like a ad-lib in a second chorus, but I didn't think it needed it. And then the ad-lib doesn't come until...
Do it.
So this is actually different than what I usually do. So there's no ad-lib track, actually. This is the lead vocal. So I just have the ad-lib is on the main.
I can't stop fucking my ex.
Also, I did this punch-in after to emphasize my ex, not my ass, right? Which is very important.
I'ma do it. I can't stop fucking my ex. Up in my bed. X.
Here's the good one. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sing.
Oh.
Woo.
X. My ex.
And then I just bounced down the main vocal, and I think I automated it, which you know, you do something a little different every time. Yeah, I have some automation on it. So that
I can't stop fucking my ex. So when she up in my bed.
Because you know that there's no ad-lib over that, and I wanted the main to come back through.
So when she up in my bed. X. Yes, I'm young.
First time I've ever done it like that. I'm getting more and more into automation. Used to really hate it because I always wanted the option to have control of the fader still. And once you automate something, you don't have control of the fader anymore, and you have to, you know, go back to automation in order to adjust the volume. But I'm just committing more in my older age. Yeah, that's XXX. There's nothing crazy, you know, decent amount of editing and tuning, but there's still some parts where like I didn't throw fades and it kind of comes in too quick, but you don't hear it and it sounds fine. Usually I'm a fan of editing and taking out all the breaths, which I do. As you can see, I'm taking out all the breaths and I'm probably nudged, and I wanted to make sure that it was in the pocket because everything else is nudged and kind of off grid. You know, you want to make sure that you listen. You know, you want to use your ears, make sure that it feels good. I think a good way to do that too is to listen at really low volume, and things that don't sit right will stick out rhythmically or tune wise too. Like when I'm tuning vocals, I like to listen really low. I'll turn my speakers off and just like let the bleed that's coming from the headphones be my guide. If I could just do tune off an iPhone speaker, I would do that, because that's the best test, right? If it sounds tuned out in the open on like an iPhone speaker, you're good. These are my verse throws. Instead of automating verbs and delays for vocals, I like to just print my vocal and then throw an echo where I want it. So you'll see like,
I saw my ex on Christmas Eve. Yes, we're both lonely. It was supposed to be just one drink, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of ways to do it. You know, sometimes I throw a compressor on the delay channel, a sidechain compressor, sidechain it to the vocal so that when the vocal is singing, it's compressing it really hard. And when the vocal is not singing, obviously it lets off the compression, and the delay is, and verb is kind of, right? So you just want it to be in the spaces, and you don't want it to clutter the vocal everywhere. So you got to pick and choose. And yes, it's tedious, but that's, you know, how we make records, and that's how you just get better and better. It's the details, right? It's a little shit like that. All right, y'all, that's about it for XXX. That's the track, that's the vocals. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and catch me next time on Meet My Beat.